All right, good afternoon. Not much for you today. Just to say on Sudan, I know a number of you have been asking me about the situation there. I can tell you that the Secretary General continues to urge all Sudanese stakeholders to find common ground towards a path that meets the legitimate democratic aspirations of all Sudanese people. On the ground, the Special Representative of the Secretary General, Volker Perthes, continues to engage with all relevant stakeholders, including both civilian groups and the military at all levels, to help build confidence, narrow gaps, and reach consensus on a workable solution going forward. And among the people he's been meeting are General Burnham and Mr. Hamdok. On Yemen, I've also was asked about the reported seizure of a ship off the coast of Yemen. While the circumstances around the incident remain unclear, we are following with concern the reports of the seizure by Houthis of a vessel flying the flag of the United Arab Emirates in what the Houthis have described as Yemeni waters. We reaffirm the need to respect the rights and obligations relating to maritime navigation in accordance with international law. We urge all concerned parties and countries in the region to exercise maximum restraint and refrain from taking any escalatory action. In this regard, we reiterate our call for the Yemeni parties to engage with the Special Envoy of the Secretary General and his mediation efforts with the aim to advance the political process to reach comprehensive negotiated settlement to end the conflict in the country. Stephanie Williams, the special advisor of the Secretary General for Libya, says that as part of her continuing consultations with Libyan political actors, she met with the representatives of the National Forces for Change yesterday. She was also joined by Ray Zeniga, the UN missions coordinator on the ground. She said that they represented their proposal for a sequenced approach to the electoral process with the holding of parliamentary elections first. Ms. Williams added that she reiterated the need to keep the electoral process moving forward and realize the aspirations of 2.8 million Libyan citizens who had registered to vote. And a quick COVID update. Today from both Venezuela and Bolivia, more than 3 million doses arrived yesterday in Venezuela, bringing the total number of doses received through COVAX to nearly 9 million. COVAX has also contributed to 2.6 million syringes to support the national vaccination efforts. In recent days, Bolivia received nearly 2 million doses through COVAX that have been donated by Spain and Germany. And we thank those two countries. Thanks to a massive logistical efforts led by the Pan American Health Organization, nearly 90 million doses have landed in 33 countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. I will stop there. Yes, James and then Edie.
Yes, can you tell us how concerned is the UN about the situation in Kazakhstan, where, as you know, there have been protests, the government buildings on fire, including apparently the presidential palace, the cabinet has resigned. How concerned are you?
Yes, I mean, we're obviously following with concern and monitoring the situation in Kazakhstan. I think it's very important for all involved in these current events to exercise restraint, refrain from violence, and promote dialogue in addressing all of the pertinent issues.
Two further follow-ups. Who has the UN been in touch with? Has the Secretary General been in touch with the President? And second follow-up, can you tell us what is the UN presence currently in Kazakhstan? Because it is a place where you have some staff. I mean, I don't know if you, for example, still have UNAMA staff in Kazakhstan. How many staff are there, and where are they?
I'll try to get you a staffing breakdown. We have a country office and others represented there. We've been in touch with and heard from our staff. There's been no security threat to our staff, no targeting of staff, and I mean they're operational and safe. But I'll try to get you some numbers. I'm not aware that the Secretary General has spoken to the President.
Has anyone else?
I think the contacts have been had at the country level. Yes, Edie.
Thank you, Steph. Before my question, a follow-up on Libya. Is it possible to get some more details on Stephanie Williams' talks about doing parliamentary elections first? What the reactions of the parties she's spoken to have been to this idea of sequencing?
Yes, I'll try to get you a bit more on that.
Secondly, the United States today imposed sanctions on Milorad Dodik, the Bosnian Serb leader, over his attempts to really separate Republika Srpska from Bosnia. Does the Secretary General have any comment on that?
You know, on the bilateral sanctions, no. Obviously, we have been following closely and have been concerned about what we have seen in Bosnia-Herzegovina on a number of levels, and I think it's important to continue, for all to continue working towards the unity of that country.
And not having been here yesterday, did you comment on the North Korean leader's latest launch?
No, I did not comment on it yesterday because I think it hadn't happened.
Oh, all right.
But it's a good yeah. But it may have been Wednesday. It's a good question because I often don't always remember what I've commented about. But in all seriousness, the Secretary General is of course aware of that of the report of this launch. He reiterates again that the DPRK should resume talks with the other parties concerned, and that diplomatic engagement and diplomatic talks remain the only pathway to sustainable peace and complete and verifiable denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Philippe et Madame ensuite.
Merci Stéphane.
You're not going to claim that card twice in my room. Yeah.
Stéphane, can you tell us what Stéphane de Mistura is doing? Apparently he began a tour in the region. So which country, when exactly? He is still based in Brussels, correct?
That's correct, because that happens to be his home, as he's. But he is. What I can tell you that he is actively preparing his first regional tour. He's in contact with all the relevant parties and their neighbors. He's looking forward to the visit as an opportunity to meet relevant partners and hold discussions in the region. And at this point, there's no other details to confirm. No dates to confirm. Madame.
It's about COVAX. Some African countries have complained that countries like, for example, France, have given them AstraZeneca, a lot of doses that they did not want to use it in their own country. Are you aware of that? Is the UN aware of that? Do they get the best vaccines, or do they get what countries don't want?
Look, there are two ways that a lot of developing countries are getting vaccines. One is through bilateral gifts, and that's not, that's not for us to comment. The doses through COVAX that we update you on regularly are all WHO-approved vaccines, right? I mean, there's a list of vaccines approved by the WHO, and those are distributed through COVAX. The COVAX, I think, website, and also done by UNICEF, is very clear on who is getting what. So countries apply to get vaccines through COVAX, and they get the vaccines through COVAX. We've been hearing issues of of vaccines that have been given bilaterally with dates that are close to preemption. That's not things that are going on through COVAX. Okay, anybody on the... Ali, please.
Thank you, Stéphane. Happy New Year and good to see you in good health. And my question is on Lebanon. In the past few hours, we witnessed another attack on UNIFIL in the south, and this is the second since the Secretary General visited Lebanon just 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, in fact. So do you believe that this is an orchestrated attack like the others, or just an incident? And what do you have to say about
Which
that?
attack are you referring to, Ali? Ali, can you tell me what exactly you're referring to?
There was another attack last night on the UNIFIL in southern Lebanon, and that attack, some material were confiscated by demonstrators from UNIFIL's units. And this is the second attack, I was saying, since the Secretary General visited.
I have not received details of the second incident you're relating to. What is clear is that it is important that UNIFIL's freedom of movement, freedom of activity within its zone of operation be respected by all. Mushfiq, I think you had a question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Stéphane. On Bangladesh, former Army Chief of Bangladesh, General Aziz, whose visa recently revoked by the US according to media report, recently claimed that Bangladesh Army bought Israeli origin spyware as UN requirements. He defended himself in an interview with German-based news network DW, though we have seen UN strong position against this surveillance equipment. Would you please comment on that?
I'm sorry, the sound is not coming in very clearly. I understand you were referring to the former Army Chief of Staff, but then I couldn't understand what you were saying.
Yeah, former Army Chief of Bangladesh, General Aziz, he claimed that the Bangladesh Army bought Israeli origin spyware as UN requirements. So, though we have seen UN strong position against this surveillance equipment, he defended himself in an interview with DW, German-based network. So would you please comment on that?
I will look at the report and get back. I'll look at the interview and get back to you. James, and then Edie.
Two further ones from me. I don't know if you have seen the report from Human Rights Watch about Tigrayans deported from Saudi Arabia. They are saying that there are thousands of Tigrayans who have been deported from Saudi Arabia and who have suffered in both countries atrocious conditions. Some have been disappeared on their return to Ethiopia. These are people, it appears in most cases, who fled across the sea to Yemen, somehow made it all the way through Yemen, got to a safe place in Saudi Arabia, and then were brutalized there, and then deported and brutalized, and no one knows where they are now. It sounds shocking.
I've seen the report from Human Rights Watch, which is very concerning indeed. Our human rights colleagues are looking into it, but it is clear that people have, no one should be, and we've said this many times, forcibly removed, and we've also expressed our concern about the human rights situation throughout Ethiopia, but we will look into this. Edie?
Can you please get back to us on this second attack on UNIFIL?
Yeah. James?
Sorry, just one more. Secretary General has started his second term now. We know that he has a new chef de cabinet. You've already announced that. It is usual for the Secretary General to reshuffle his top team. Are we expecting a reshuffle? Are we expecting to see new faces in the coming days, coming weeks?
Well, I hope to be here tomorrow. And I will leave it at that. I think as personnel changes are announced when they're announced, but I have nothing for you on that. Okay, thank you all, and see you tomorrow. Sorry, yes. Yes, sorry, Abdelhamid, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you. In fact, I have two short questions. First question, did the UN play any role in any way or in any means in the ending of the hunger strike of Hisham Abu Hawash?
I'm not aware. Your second question?
My second question, today is International Day of Self-Determination. And does this right of self-determination in the view of the UN still apply to the people of Kashmir and the people of Palestine and the people of Western Sahara?
Those are issues that we have commented on and have a position on, which is unchanged. People the world over have a right to self-determination. It is a basic right that applies to all people. Thank you all. Let's hope I see you tomorrow. Yeah.